When are we going to say no? When are we going to say it's gone too far? When are we going to demand the abolishment of this unruly bureaucracy we call the Department of Homeland Security? I saw plenty of DHS officers on the scene over in Pittsburgh. You know what I didn't see? Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda did not make an appearance at the G20. What do you know? Yet they're still using these acoustical devices en masse. You know, they always beta test this stuff. When was the first time you saw it launched? Well, the first time it was on television was back in 2004 when the Republican National Convention came to New York City and they said, yeah, we'll put it on the top of police trucks. Yeah, we'll put it on the back of vans. Yeah, we'll hit unruly crowds that don't want to go into their free speech areas with it. No big deal. And we clamor for it. We love it. I see people on the comment board defending the actions of the riot police. What's happened to us? Why have we become so docile, so dumbed down? Do we really care that much about our Monday Night Football? Are we that enthralled with Grey's Anatomy and House that we can't take the time to say no to DHS and acoustic weapons around the country? That we can't take the time to say no to foreign mercenaries on the streets of Hardin, Montana, to privatize prison systems openly run by felons and the U.S. military? With that being said, let's go to Alex Jones right now on the ground in Hardin, Montana. Alex?
Jason, we are here in Hardin, Montana in front of the detention center again. It was a circus here yesterday with at least 30 locals showing up while we were here in just 1 hour. Then we came back later. Other locals were showing up, driving through to see what was happening. Of course, since then, the Attorney General of the state of Montana has launched a major investigation into American police force and also the Two Rivers Authority here. And I sent Paul Watson some emails last night of local news out of Billings and also out of Hardin, but I didn't see those up on prisonplanet.com this morning, of him dressed up at city council meetings in his American police force uniform. And also, we've gotten more photographs of the decals they had on the cars that said American Police Force, Hardin Police, with a double-headed eagle in the center of the crest. So that is indeed going on and was on the front page of the Hardin weekly newspaper that was published yesterday and is on newsstands here. So, bottom line, this is a classic example of how any mercenary firm, no matter how disreputable their head is, can just come into a town, come into a $27 million detention facility. 9 months ago, they were trying to, and we've confirmed this with them inside, trying to turn this into Guantanamo Bay West. We saw the maps, the blueprints on the walls for enemy combatants and for holding, quote, alien prisoners. They're not talking about the kind from Mars. And so all of that is going on here. There's also a bizarre sign on the gate, and I'm going to email these to Watson and Kurt today to get them posted, that we noticed inside the gate when you're leaving. It says no hostages will be allowed through this gate. And yes, it says no hostages will be allowed through this gate. Very, very bizarre. So the mystery just deepens here. Also, they were claiming and using the logos and names of Blackwater. Blackwater has said that they're not affiliated with this group, but Blackwater has a history of being deceptive. And that's the problem with all these groups. We don't know what the truth is. I was in a bizarre press conference yesterday as the spokeswoman for American Police Force inside the prison. Was there with several newspapers, several local TV stations from Billings, and they were saying, I will not tell you who owns American Police Force. And they were literally yelling at her, demanding to know. She started crying, saying that she can't tell people. Now, we were hoping that this guy was just a con artist once we discovered this, and that was where it ended. But he has purchased all these new cars. He has already given money to the local community. He was promising to build a homeless shelter, this huge military command base, has had all this personnel through the town, and was able to put down the $2+ million per year lease, $2 million plus. It's in the paper. I think it's 2.3 million going from memory. So he was able to come up with all this money, and then he has all these convictions in different states and convicted of running every scam and all these big civil judgments against him and all these strange aliases that he has. The question is, how could it just be a complete scam by this gentleman, whatever his real name is, Captain Hilton, Captain Michael Hilton, as he's known by the locals? How could then he come in and lease this and pay the money to the Two Rivers Authority? That's why they still think he's legitimate and say, well, even if he's has this bad background, he's at least paid the money, and we need to do something with this detention facility. On top of that, you have the locals paying for the infrastructure for this facility. You have foreign shadowy investors who they won't mention 2 years ago that paid to have the $27 million facility built. To be technical, it's not on the reservation. Some of our guests we've had on were incorrect about that. I've got the local city maps. It's on the border of the Crow Nation reservation. We've also discovered from local newspaper reporters that there was a discussion a year and a half ago by the governor. I'm getting some breakup. Jason, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but the breakup is, I can hear that as well.
Well, I'm going to call you back.
All right, Alex, before you go, I would also like to point out that our listeners did fish out this piece of information. This is out of a Associated Press article on September 12th, where he would only mention that his name was Captain Michael, but in an interview with this gentleman, he said that his boss is a retired U.S. Army colonel named Richard Culver, who is currently overseas. Culver's role with the company could not be immediately verified. So we need our listeners to do double time. We need you out there finding out who this Culver character is. What are his ties? Who are his financial backers? Where is this money coming from? Why is he overseas? Why has he taken an interest in foreign mercenaries?